So now let's look at another attack, in which we are going to abuse ADCS. So now what is ADCS and why in this workshop I am basically teaching you ADCS. ADCS stands for Active Directory Certificate Services, and this is one of the major services that we are exploiting in our day-to-day engagements. So in our engagement, if we see a company has configured Active Directory Certificate Services, it means there are 50 to 60% chances that they are vulnerable, and abusing this, we can directly reach to the level of domain admins. So that's how easy it is, and this is not that complicated to exploit. So under 15-20 minutes you can reach the domain admin level. It's that easy. Believe me, why I am laughing, because these attacks we are doing day in day out, and we are compromising the domains very quickly. Okay, but yeah, so what is ADCS? ADCS is a or Active Directory Certificate Services is a server role in Windows operating systems that company uses to implement PKI, which is a public key infrastructure, in their domain. Okay, so that they can basically using PKI they can have applications. They can okay. So basically using PKI they can create public private key pairs, as well as they can also create digital certificates for providing different kind of applications. These applications are your code signing, it can be client authentication, it can be email encryption, a lot more. If I compare ADCS to the HTTPS protocol, so HTTPS protocol also uses asymmetric encryption, and it uses public private key pair to encrypt a communication between a web server and a client. Similarly, ADCS, the PKI infrastructure that ADCS uses, it also creates public private key and uses digital certificate for encrypting things. Okay, it can the application that I just mentioned, you can use that. You can use ADCS to do that. Basically, you can perform client authentication. It means using a certificate you can authenticate to a domain. So not using password. Okay, even if you don't have the password but you have a certificate, using that certificate you can log in into a domain. If you want code signing feature, you can use that. If you want file encryption feature, you can also use ADCS for that. It is a multi-purpose service. So these are the components of Active Directory Certificate Services. The important one is the certificate authority. So certificate authority is a server. Okay, it is the trusting entity that clients and users trusts. Okay, it is used for management as well as issuance of digital certificates. Okay, using this, so if you want to get a certificate, you ask this, and if you get certificates and then use that certificate for authenticate to some other client or some other server, again that server will ask certificate authority whether that certificate is valid or not. Then we have certificate templates. So certificate templates are a blueprint, or it has a predefined set of settings for a particular certificate. Okay, so there are different types of certificates and there are already templates created for that. Then we have certificate itself. So certificate is the digitally signed document used for encryption, message signing, as well as authentication. And how does how all this thing work? Okay, how this ADCS works, right? Sorry. Okay, let me just draw this. Okay, so first, this is the certificate authority and this is the client user on a system. So when they're trying to get a certificate from a certificate authority, first they will create a public private key pair. Then once that is done, then they will create a certificate signing request, and then it will go to the CS server. What's in the certificate signing request? So in the certificate signing request, the client will write the template. It will also give the subject name. Subject name is the name of the user who is trying to access the certificate, and this is the template, which is the template which is code signing template. It means that this certificate, the certificate that is going to be generated from this template, it is going for code signing. And EKU is called extended key usage. It defines the purpose of this certificate, which is code signing, and then it will also add the public key that is generated here, and then it will sign this entire certificate sign request using the private key, and then it will send it to the CA. Now CA, what CA will do, it will check few things. First, it will verify whether the template code sign exists or not. First thing that it will check. Other thing, this template has code signing or not. That is the second thing it will check. And the final thing is it will check whether this particular user is allowed to enroll in this code sign template or not. If all the three things are there, it means everything looks good. The client will, the certificate authority will generate a certificate, basically this certificate. It will add the public key of the server. It will have the signature, it will have the subject name, and it will have the code signing. It means that this certificate can be used by this client for code signing. So, and now the client can basically saves this certificate in its Windows store or in the Windows registry or database like that, and then the client can use the certificate for this code signing purposes. Okay. Similarly, if the certificate template is for client authentication, the client can use the certificate for authenticating to the domain instead of using their password. So that's how it works. Now let's talk about the misconfigurations. So in this workshop, I am going to covering only one misconfiguration, which is ESC1. Actually, I was planning to go about, like, I was going to tell you about ESC8 as well, since we have limited time. Anyways, I am going to go showcase the ESC1 misconfiguration, which is one of the most popular one misconfiguration that we find. Okay, what is that misconfiguration? Is that the first thing is that low privilege users can request the certificates. That's the first requirement that that you have to exploit this misconfigured template. Or also another thing, that template has client authentication, PKInit client authentication, smart account logon, or any of these. Okay, this template should have any one of these. Other thing is that the requester can specify the subject alternative name. It means the requester can supply any other requester's name. So I can supply whose name, I can supply domain admin name as well. It means I can ask certificate for domain admin if this property is enabled, the SAN. If you see this configuration, so here the template name is ESC1 vulnerable template. Client authentication is set to true. That's the first check. Enrollee supply subject, which is the SAN, which is set to true. It means as a user, I can ask a certificate for any user. Okay. And the third thing, the first, which is that this user has enrollment rights on this particular template. So these are the criteria that should match to exploit this. And believe me, about 50% of the engagements we are compromising ADCS. This is the configuration that we are exploiting. It's that common in real world. So this is the tool that we are going to use using Certify. Certify is the Python tool that we can use to enumerate as well as exploit. So we have a Windows alternative as well, which is certify.exe, that you guys also can use. So using this we can enumerate. I am going to show you. Then you can exploit just 2 commands. If you see, let's count the commands. First command, we will find the vulnerable template, request the certificate for that vulnerable template, and then we can authenticate using that certificate template and get to the hash of that user, the NTLM hash of that user. And whose hash we are going to ask, whose certificate we are going to ask? We are going to ask certificate for a domain administrator. And whose hash we are going to get? Since it is a domain administrator certificate, we are going to get a hash of a domain administrator using just 3 simple commands. Believe me, it will not even take me 5 minutes to go through this. Yeah, let me just go to the practical. Guys, again same thing here. Again I am saying, please do not perform these attacks in any real world environment or network. Please perform this in the lab. And if you are not able to build a lab, then we have a course which already have a lab setup, which is Windows Red Teaming course, which is already live on academy.redfoxsec.com. You can use that. Okay, so let's enumerate first Certify. Meanwhile, I think we already have the credential of a user, right? We have two credentials. One we found in the LSA secrets and one we found in the share. We can use any of the secrets. So Certify AD, let's use find. Let's use the user as SVC, backup, then the password is this. Then we can specify the DCIP, std out, so that we can get the output here. Then we can specify the templates which are vulnerable, and then we can specify the templates which are enabled using these flags. So let me just hit enter. Okay, if you see, it has already queried this domain controller. Also, this domain controller is also acting as a certificate authority. I think in the initial slides I have shown you that the domain controller acting as a ADDS, Active Directory Domain Services, is also acting as a Active Directory certificate server as well. Anyways, so that's the domain server name. And if you see, it is vulnerable to ESC8, vulnerable to ESC4, plus this ADCS is also vulnerable to ESC1 as well. And if you see the conditions, is that domain users can enroll in this certificate. The name of the certificate is, let's see, well, the name is certificate, so the name of the certificate is secure template. Well, that's not secure here. Anyways, yeah, let's go through the condition. The first condition is that the client authentication should be enabled, so that's enabled. The second condition is that enrollee supply subject, which is the SAN, which is subject alternative name, is set to true. It means that this user or any domain users can give username of any other user. Okay, why I am saying domain user? All the domain users can do that, because if you see, this group has enrollment rights in this template, which is the secure template. So on this secure template, all the users, because every user is a part of domain users group, right? So every user has enrollment rights in this template. It means that they can ask as user, let's suppose as user A, they can ask certificate as for user B. That's what we are going to. So that's the first command that we have just run. Let's now run the second command. We can basically, let me just copy the template name as well, and that's the name of the certificate authority, which is Delhi Bank-CA. Copy Certify AD. Oh, sorry, this time it is request. That's user we can write as SVC underscore backup, specify password. Okay, then we can specify the template, which is paste. Then we can specify the I think the target, which is at this status, which is 10.0.03. Then we can specify the CA name, which is Delhi Bank-CA. What else we have to specify? Yeah, the important thing that basically we are requesting a certificate for this template from the CA using this user for domain admin. So let me specify the UPN. We can use, I think we saw that there is a domain admin with the VM name. So @delhi.bank.local. So let me again go through this command. Using this tool, we are requesting a certificate for this template from this CA using this user's credential for this domain admin. So let's request the certificate. Let's wait. Okay, looks like we got some errors. Maybe our connection was not correct here. Let me just try it again. And if you see, this is the second command I ran. So using this command, I am able to get the certificate of the domain admin, which is vm.pfx. That's the name of the certificate file. Let me just copy this as well. Okay, copied. That's the second command. Now let's the third command, which is certify AD. Now we can authenticate. Let's specify the DC IP. Let's specify the pfx file, which is the certificate file, which is vm.pfx. Okay. And let's wait for the magic to happen here. Abracadabra. Now we have the hash of the user of the, which is the domain administrator. Cool. So that's the hash we are after here. You see, when I am explaining, it took me 15 minutes. When I am on an engagement, it hardly takes 2 to 3 minutes to get to the domain admins. It's that easy. That's how vulnerable are the environments in today day and age. So let me just copy this password, and using this, since this is a domain admin's password or hash, I can perform DC sync attack. What is DC sync attack? For that, you have to purchase our course, which is live at academy.redfox.sec. So the name of the course is Windows Red Teaming. So let me just perform that attack. So, but in simple DC sync attack, it will sync all the hashes from the domain controller, and we can get to all the hashes from this domain controller. So you can use that impacket secrets dump. Then we can specify the name of the domain, which is delhi.bank.local. Basically, then the name of the user that we just compromised, which is the domain admin. Since domain admin has DC sync rights on a domain controller, specify the domain controller, then the hash of this user, which is in this format. Basically, we have to give a colon here so that this is the format it requires. We can specify this also, this whole string as well, or in short, we can specify this as well from this. But that's the hash after the column. And if I click enter, so that's the 3 command to get to the domain admin's hash, and the 4th command to get to the hash of all the users that are present in this domain. These are all the hashes in this domain. Okay, all the hashes, be it local, be it a domain user, domain administrator, or a domain computer. All the passwords that are stored in this domain controller, we have access to everything. Okay, so that's how easy it is to compromise domains using ADCS. Okay, let me go back to my slides. Yeah, this is how you can prevent it. Basically, what we can do, you can go to the certificate, go to the DC domain controller. On this domain controller, I have the certificate authority. Let me open the certificate authority. Then go to this certificate authority. Let's right click manage, and I have the secure template here. And if you see the settings, so this is the setting that you have to disable. Okay, basically this is where you are supplying the SAN. You have to disable it and tick this option, and then click here email. Okay, and when you apply and click OK, your domain will be saved from the misconfigured certificate template attack, which is ESC1. Okay, that's how you can do that. Or also what else you can do, you can also go to security and remove, and just click on this domain users, and you can remove this user out of this template, so that the domain users will not be able to enroll in this certificate template. Okay, so that's the prevention part. Yeah, these are some of the references that you can use to download the tools, plus read the blogs.
Not sure where to begin in cybersecurity? At Redfox Academy, we make it simple. Start from zero and complete a course at your own pace. Our beginner-friendly courses walk you through everything you need to know, step by step. With expert instructors and plenty of hands-on practice, you will be ready to take on real-world challenges. Whether you are interested in penetration testing, application security, we are here to guide you every step of the way. Visit academy.redfoxsec.com and start your learning journey with us today. Plus, you can avail up to 20% discount on our courses. The courses and coupon codes are provided in the lower section of the video.